143 professionals on the planet is on LinkedIn. What does that say? It says that there's an opportunity for marketers, especially content marketers, to reach out to these people, right? To build a relationship with the professional mindset on LinkedIn. This is the place to do it, right? And this is a great step. Our content pages receive 6 times the page views as our job pages. So LinkedIn is no longer the online resume. LinkedIn is a thought leadership platform, right? And what does that mean? That means that we're moving towards the definitive publishing platform. I'm sure you've seen the influencer posts that we do, from Richard Branson to Bill Gates, right? We opened up the publishing platform to more members recently, and it's been going great so far. If you're interested, find me afterwards. I can probably set you up. Anyway, brands build relationships with their world professionals. This is our mantra: target, publish, extend. Again, I'm not here to talk about LinkedIn, but just want to give you a quick intro on that. And the accuracy, the targeting with accuracy. This is authentic data on LinkedIn, right? Because nobody is going to falsify their data on LinkedIn because it's in their best interest to have their profile optimized and updated, so for their own personal well-being, right? And then, of course, LinkedIn Marketing Solutions, the part that I work for, is it can achieve your objectives, whether it be generate awareness, generate traffic and leads, drive consideration and preference, driving advocacy, and building community. And I'll show you examples of that. And there's a startup here that I think is doing a great job of it. So anyway, let's talk about content. I know we're all sick of hearing content is king, right? Who's sick of that? So I recommend we start calling content the whiz, and nobody beats the whiz. Okay? No Seinfeld fans? Anyway. So, when I think of startup world, and I love this, I love you guys, because I think of punk rock. I think you guys are out there, you're making some noise, you do whatever you want. So this is my favorite quote when it comes to content marketing for startups, is from Jello Biafra. Anybody know Jello Biafra? Yeah. From San Francisco, the singer of the Dead Kennedys. He famously said back in the 70s, he said, don't hate the media, become the media. And that's the perfect statement for content marketing, right? Because in the late 70s, nobody was talking about punk rock. They were talking about disco. The big media, all they wanted to do was talk about disco. So what did these guys do? The Ramones, the Sex Pistols, the Clash. They made their own media. They became the media. They became so outlandish that the media was forced to take notice. That's where we're at with content marketing. You have to differentiate yourself. You have to be so outlandish. And you guys can do it, man. I got some red tape I got to go through, right? But when I was at Marquette, I was employee 123. I ran content and social over there. And I would walk into John Miller, no relation to the co-founder, and I'd say, John, I got a great idea for a piece of content I think is going to really resonate with our audience. And he would say, I don't hate it, which means full steam ahead. You know John, you'll get that. Anyway. So why are we doing this anyway? Why are we doing this content marketing? Why is content marketing important? Who knows this stat? This is from Serious Decisions. 60% of the buying cycle is completed before a sales or before a customer or prospect is ready to talk to you about a sale or an upsell, right? I know Adam talked about this a lot. This is important. What Adam talked about, in order for you guys to get where you want to get to and compete with the big guys out there, you're going to need technology. The technology that allows 5 marketers to market like 10,000, right? And it's out there. This is the current content experience right now. This is terrible. This is Times Square. This is the ultimate irrelevant content journey. This is walking down the street with being blasted by 1 million messages, and hardly any of them are relevant to you, right? So I believe it's up to us as marketers to deliver a better content experience. And what does that mean? The key ingredient to a better content experience is relevance. Say it with me. Relevance. Right? No longer the content farms are dead. No longer are we creating content just to be creating content. It doesn't make sense anymore. So the answer is inevitably not more content, but more relevant content. More relevant content. How do you get to that more relevant content? Well, this is a quote from Roy Williams, that advertising guy. I love this quote. It says, speak to the dog in the language of the dog about what's in the heart of the dog. This is about getting so close to your customer. This is not about having 5,000 tweets on a blog post. When do we all become so egocentric, right? That's not important. If a blog post gets 5 retweets, if it gets 5 views by the 5 of the right people I want it to be viewed by, that's success, man. That's what I want. That's relevancy. That's going to drive, it's going to drive revenue. It's going to drive pipeline. That's why we're doing this. A common answer to relevance is persona. But the persona comes from the ancient Greek word for mask, right? So they didn't use mask as a sense of covering something up. What they did was that the ancient Greeks in the theater, They used masks to play bigger-than-life characters, deities and gods, right? One guy could play 5 different characters, and they would have these huge expressions on their faces so that people could see from far away. But what we've turned that persona into is a silly name in a PowerPoint deck. Sally, the consumer. Dave, the guy who likes to save. You know, I mean, this is silly stuff. We got to get deeper. And who's seen this movie? Blue Jasmine. This is a remarkable movie. What am I talking about Blue Jasmine for? Kate Blanchett won the Oscar for this. Now, why did she win the Oscar? Because she takes the persona to a whole new level. When she was researching her role of a broken-down socialite for Blue Jasmine, she immersed herself in the character. She put the mask on, and she lived through her character's eyes for relevancy, and she won an Oscar, right? So she spoke to the dog, her target audience, in the language of the dog, by going to Off-Broadway when she was in New York and boozing it up where these broken-down Madoff widows were sitting, sipping cocktails. She says she drank herself into oblivion because she wanted to understand what these people's daily lives were. She wanted to connect with them, and that's how she did it. She won the Oscar, and that's awesome. So the language of the dog, and what's important to the heart of the dog, in this case, an award-winning performance, and that's what she got. So, Anne Hamley. Who knows Anne Hamley? Oh, you guys are killing me. Anne Hamley is one of the smartest content marketers on the planet. She wrote a book called Content Rules. It is the Bible of content marketing. If you don't have it, I suggest you read it. I have 3 copies. I have an autographed copy. I love it. I love Anne. This is her simple formula. When you are getting started with content, you are writing a blog, you're writing anything, this is the magic formula. This is useful times enjoyable times inspired equals innovative content. You could put /relevant content next to that as well. So where do you start? Where do we start with this content machine that we need to build, right? Well, don't forget about the blog. The blog, I like to use this reference because I think the blog is the original social media. People are going to say the forum is. The forum's like the grandfather of social media. This is the original dude, man. This is the hipster guy. He's taken a beating lately because Twitter and Facebook are saying that you need tiny little snackable pieces of content. Of course we do. But it needs a mothership. It needs, anyway, the blog is the room that ties the rug together. Dude abides, right? It ties everything together. It's the one center place where your content lives. And it puts all these little tentacles out there, right? The tweets, the LinkedIn posts. These are all little tentacles that are bringing them all the way back to somewhere. When somebody once told me that should be done during a presentation, obviously I forgot to do that. But my point is, these little snackable pieces of content are essential, but they need to lead back to somewhere. Just because somebody retweets something doesn't mean anything. You need them to retweet and then click back and perform an action, right? So, I stole this, I borrowed this, I didn't steal it, I brought it, reinterpreted it. We'll do it in that second. From HubSpot. Really smart guy at HubSpot in 2009 wrote a blog post called Blogging Food Groups. Now why this is important? Because you can't write the same damn blog every day of the week. Even if you're writing 2 times a week, your audience is going to get fed up, so you need something, you need to diversify. So this guy, in 2009, wrote this little blog post. I'm like, I've been using this thing for years, but nobody ever talked about it, so I'm bringing it out, man. I'm bringing it back. Getting the band back together. And what this says is, you divide up your blog categories into 5 groups, 5 food groups. So you have Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran comes out on Mondays. This is just my scenario, right? Raisin Bran is the how-to stuff. It's the daily stuff. It's easy to dish out, right? Then Tuesday would be the spinach. A little bit more thought leadership. Spinach is difficult to chew, but it's good for you, right? So a little bit more thought leadership, a little bit deeper than the Raisin Bran. Then we go to the roast. Wednesday is a good time for a roast. What is a roast? A roast is a 2,500-word stake-in-the-ground blog post. Go look at Moz.com. You want to spend a day reading comments. There's 150 comments on each one. An influencer post you could call a roast, right? Thousands of comments. But the idea is that it is something you're going to spend some time with. You're going to chew on a little bit longer. That's the roast analogy. And then Thursday, we get into Tabasco. I'll show you an example of this. Tabasco is where you start a little fire, right? So you call out your competition. You take a very strong opinion. And there's this guy named Derek, how's that guy's last name? From, I probably ever referenced him, but Derek? No? No, he's not a sports guy. Anyway, he has this thing called drifting. And the idea is to take, this is great for you guys, this is easy to do, right? So you take two opposing views out there that are relevant topics to your space. And then you call them out on your blog. So you kind of put them in the ring together. But you don't take a stance. You just say, put them together. Then you call each one and say, hey, by the way, so-and-so said this about your stance. And then you call the other and say, so-and-so said this about your stance. They come to your blog, all of a sudden there's a flurry of comments, and then people are figuring out, who the hell, where am I at? I'm on this site, let's get them to navigate through and click through. It's a great way to generate traffic and buzz. So, Derek?
Derek Halpern from Social Triggers.
Social Triggers, yes, thank you. Excellent, Derek from Social Triggers. Anyway, so blogging food groups. I almost forgot my favorite one. On Friday, the chocolate cake post. Time to have a little fun with your audience, right? I was coming back from Las Vegas seeing Guns N' Roses, right? And I'm a heavy metal guy, so. And if I had to rank events in my life, it would be my wedding day and then Guns N' Roses in Vegas, and that's kind of it, right? But the idea here is I was coming back, and I was so inspired that I wrote a blog post called 5 Content Marketing Lessons from Guns N' Roses. And I got back there, I showed it to John Miller at Marquette, so that's where I was. Anybody say?
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it, that's right. So that means full steam ahead. So I posted it, Friday, fun piece, got a little bit of engagement, like, got some jokes here and there. Then Guns N' Roses retweeted it. That means the actual Rose may or may not have seen my content. That's crazy. What did it do for Marquette? Absolutely nothing. But it's a good little ego boost, and it feels good to tell that story. Anyway, so that's your blog, man. Start with a blog. That's where you get started. 500 words. Do the 300 words. I call it the Seth Godin punch in the face blog. Here's 300 words. It's so tight, it's so fresh, it's so relevant that you don't need it anymore, right? Anyway, so next, what do you do after that? Then you have to create what I call the big rock piece of content. This is a stake in the ground. This is a big, relevant piece of content. And then you're going to repurpose this. Anybody know the turkey analogy? This is from Rebecca Lieb from the Altimber Group. One of the smartest content marketers on the planet again. I love Rebecca Lieb. 2 years ago, I was at AdTech. I asked her, Rebecca, what do you tell your B2B customers who are having trouble coming up with this much content to feed the beast, right? She said, I tell them to think of their content pieces like turkey. So you have this giant bird on Thanksgiving. What are you doing for the next 30 days? You're eating this goddamn bird, right? But you're making things out of turkey that you would not usually make. You're making turkey sandwiches, turkey pot pie. You're doing things with turkey that you're probably not supposed to be doing in the edible sense. Don't get me started with that. Anyway, so the idea is once you create this big rock piece of content that is relevant to your audience, is answering a question, a burning question they have, or helping them do something, or solving a problem they know they have, or even solving a problem they don't know they have. You carve it up. One blog, one ebook can turn into 5 or 6 blogs, a couple infographics, a webinar, a video, a SlideShare presentation. The list goes on and on, right? These are the snackable pieces that are going to fuel your demand gen and your social. If you don't have content, content fuels social and demand gen. If you don't have content to feed it, you're not going to get results, right? Little repurpose activity. This is what, every time I create a piece of content at LinkedIn, this is what I do. Make everybody on my team, we go through this line by line. We say, how's this going to be used as a blog? How's this going to be used as SlideShare? And we customize this for each audience. Why is that? Because those people who are searching at 60%, they are choosing the way they consume your content. So you better have your content in a format that they choose to consume in a place that they choose to consume it. If they're on SlideShare and you don't have SlideShare there, you're missing out. Don't get me started on Pinterest. I'm not a big fan. I don't get it. But yeah, there's Twitter, right? So here we go. David Bowie. The only art I'll ever steal from, or the only art I'll ever study, is stuff that I can steal from. This is an idea that David Bowie presented in the 70s. Nothing is original, right? Nothing's original. So the idea here is to take something, take a good idea, steal it from your competition, steal it from somebody who's doing it well, and put your own spin on it, your own unique spin. It's okay, right? I'm going to show you an example. This is a company I just recently found out about called Pantheon. Anybody know Pantheon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so these guys are living proof of the big rock turkey blogging food groups, man. And they're local. They're about 30 people, I think. I think they're still they're still a startup phase, right? Anyway, they took a spin. This is their big rock piece of content. 8 amazing Drupal launches. This is 8 case studies pulled together into one story. Case studies, people cringe when you hear case study. Nobody clicks on a case study in Twitter, right? They want a story. We all know that. So they took these 8 case studies, slimmed them down, put them into a little package deal. We'll call them a big rock piece of content. Now, what are they going to do next? They're going to do a custom image for Twitter, and they're going to put it out through Twitter, right? But that's a custom image specifically for Twitter. These little finesses are going to make all the difference in the world. What else do they do? Carve it up. Oh, look at this. I love this. If you looked at the numbers on that first ebook, The Big Rock, pretty substantial numbers, 80, 100 tweets. 50 LinkedIn shares. We're going to work on that one. But this here, we took that same piece of content, that same ebook, and we turned it into a visual, self-guided content journey, right? Same exact content, call it Designer. By the way, it's 2014. If you're not serious, if you are serious about content social, you're going to need a little bit of budget, right? This wasn't expensive, but they called an agency, they had a designer, take that exact ebook, that exact content, and turn it into a visual, self-guided slideshow journey. This thing has 5,000 views. Are you kidding me? It's the same damn content. It's the first presentation they tried this with, and they had 5,000 views. That is tremendous. That is a missed opportunity. I love this too. Here's the blog. Here's the rug that ties the room together. But they took it a step further, because this is a perfectly optimized blog. Why? Because it's got a great headline. It tells you exactly where you're at, what you're doing. It's written, not written instructions. What happens when you make an instruction manual? Right? You throw it in the trash and go to YouTube. Don't write instructionally. Write strategically. Write helpful tips. And then they have these little tweetable moments down here. The top little moments from the blog, and you can tweet them. This is an easy thing to do, man. This is reality. This is the tentacles live happening in front of you. Oh, why not do a webinar? I'll take it. So now you have the book, you have the slideshare deck, you're forming this little content army. Everything your customers want to know in one piece, carved up, fueling demand and social for up to a quarter, right? You're repurposing. What do? You need a little extra push? Who knows this? This is Nigel from Spinal Tap. In the movie Spinal Tap, they're famously on stage and they say, when we're on stage, the crowd's going crazy, we want to turn up a little bit. You're on 10, where can you go? The answer is nowhere. So what they do is their amps go to 11. So they turn up to 11. And the guy Rob Reiner asks him and says, well, why don't you just make 10 one louder? And he says, Nigel Topnell famously says, well, this is one louder. So what I'm saying to you is, when you want it to go up to 11 with your content and your social, you got to put some paid behind it. Inbound plus outbound equals awesomeness. You're going to have to put some paid behind it. Doing nothing but inbound marketing is like hanging out with the same group of high school kids your entire life. And I hated high school. I almost cursed. Sorry. I didn't have very good high school, so I don't want to do that. You want to expand. You want to get past that initial reach and go beyond to get to that coveted second-degree connection, the connections, the friends of friends, right? The networks, the secondary network folks. You want to bust outside, and you do that with paid. And the targeting out there is so specific that there's no waste if you do it well. If your message is right, if your content is right, there's no miss. Mobile is accelerating content consumption. I'd be steering you guys in the wrong direction if I didn't mention this, but this is unique. This is LinkedIn's own data, right? So 41% of unique visiting members came through mobile apps. So the lesson here is all the stuff you're creating has to be optimized for mobile. It's easy to do. It's responsive design. If you can't do responsive design landing pages are cheap. Marketo, HubSpot, whatever you're using, it works beautifully. But you have to be where your consumer is, and it has to be a nice experience. This is really interesting. This is data from LinkedIn again. And what we noticed is that, and this just kind of reiterates the point of going mobile, right? Because there's a tablet and a mobile spike in the morning, and then desktop takes over. But mobile hangs on the whole damn day. And then at night, tablet and mobile picks up again. It's called coffee to conversation, right? Or coffee to couch. Sorry, coffee to couch. But I'm telling you, mobile is where it's at. These people are connected to their mobile phones, and they will not let go. So you need to get your content in there, and you need to have it optimized. Visuals in the headline. Years ago, David Ogilvy, famous, the original madman, once said, once you've written your headline, you spend 80 cents to your dollar. I say the same thing about your visual this day and age, right? This is a cat flying on a rug made out of bacon. This is probably the most compelling image I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm going to click on this no matter what the hell's behind it. That's the goal. By the way, the infographic is not dead. Claiming that something is dead is dead. Don't do that. Well-designed infographics always have a place. Creating an infographic just to create an infographic, you're going to fail. Just as you create content to create content, you're going to fail. These are great for link building. These are great to jazz up a press release. These are great to chop up into snackable elements. This is essential for telling a complicated story very quickly visually. Why is that important? Because 70% of the neurons in our brain process visual information. There's no way around that. It's biology. It's hardwired in our heads. Stop saying the infographics suck. Tired of it. I will show you some numbers next time. So, going further, I got one more example for you. This is one of my projects at Marketo. I love this example. I call it visual kicks text ass, right? So, very similar to how Pam took that big rock piece of content, that one ebook, and turned it into a slideshow. If we did the same thing in Marketo. We had an inbound marketing ebook that had 17,000 views. Not bad, right? Turned it, the exact same content we got with Column 5, turned it into a visual self-guided journey, the same exact content on SlideShare. 328,000 views on a B2B piece of content. That's insane. That's insane. Oh, and I'll leave you with one thing here. By the way, Adam, I love Adam. Adam used to coach me in my early days, the social customer in his book. The first thing I read got me to where I'm at today. So nice job today, Adam, and again, big fan.
Hard to remember.
So, another common thing is how do I get some traction on social? How do I get some traction on LinkedIn? We get this question all the time. Are your employees happy? If they're happy, which I hope they are, then they should be sharing your own content, right? Not the salesy stuff, not the demo offers, but your own good content. And you need to empower them. There's technology out there. Again, as I mentioned before, you have to use technology to move this stuff forward, to perform like 10 marketers performing like 100,000. I'm getting bigger and bigger, I know. So, but the idea here is Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley have done this perfectly. Look at these maniacs. These guys do this voluntarily. They spread the word of KISS, the gospel of KISS, all around the globe. They're maniacs. I have a card in my wallet. I know Adam does as well. But the idea here is they are sharing the news for them, and it's so much more impactful coming from their peers, right? Because we trust our peers. We don't trust the companies. So how can you do this? We use a service called Gaggle Amp. There's another one called Advocate, Marcus Nelson's company. Really great stuff. Either one of those you can basically put your top messages in and tell your employees to sign up, gamify this thing, and they share it with their networks as measurable. It integrates with Marketo and Elf. That's a beautiful thing. But you're empowering your folks to share them. Because the biggest question is, I want to share content, but what the hell do I share? You can pre-draft the message. It looks completely organic, and it's so incredibly impactful. When you gamify it and do rewards, we gave away Marketo Snuggies, for Christ's sake, when you hit like 110 points or whatever. This is fun, man. Do a t-shirt. Do something simple. People like the challenge, and they like to share news about their company if they're happy and they're proud of the work you're doing. And I'm sure that's not a problem for any of us in this room. So, I'll leave you with a couple more slides here. How do you know if your content strategy is working? There are a million blogs out there with 175 ways to measure your content. You don't need that. It's ridiculous, right? There's 3 ways. Number 1, increased referral traffic. Increased non-branded keyword referral traffic. What does that mean? That means these people are not typing your brand name, your company name, into the Google search to come to your site. That means they're coming from somewhere else. They're coming from your content. I love that. You see a 5% uptake in that? That's good. You see a 20%? You're showing that to your CMO, and you're getting a promotion. I promise you. Number 2, social engagement. Just a matter of time until these little social signals play a role in SEO, right? Who's to say they don't now? Well, the search engines, but I don't know. I'm saying if you're getting these likes and comments and +1s and shares, they may not be impacting your search results, but damn it, it's social validation. It's showing that your content is more relevant. And if that's going up, your relevance is going up. You're doing your job right. And number 3, higher quality leads. If the more leads that are coming in that close, that's obviously a higher quality. That means your content's more relevant. That means all this is working. So, again, another David Bowie quote. After all I showed you, it's not who does it first, it's who does it best. So again, go steal some ideas. How about this for advice? Go steal some ideas, and then go do better. That's what you guys are all doing in the first place, right? You guys are startups, man. You have an idea. You probably were inspired by somebody else, and you're going to do it better than them. So that's awesome. I wish I was in your spot, but I'm not that smart when it comes to new ideas. So anyway, this is my ebook. If you're interested in content marketing on LinkedIn, it's free download. You can go to the little short link there and get it. Or you just go to our blog. And I'll leave you with that. So anyway, I think we have a couple questions maybe?
Yes, let's go ahead and open it up to questions. Who has
Go back
questions?
one. Can you go back one?